Good. All right.
At the top it says I traveled 135.
There you go. So this was the first sheet that I asked you to do. What is this unit all about, guys? We are using ratio, but we're using it to find something else beginning with R. Say that again. I think you were correct, but rates, yeah. We're looking at rates. Would anyone like to tell me what a rate is? We have talked about it a few times.
The rate, I don't know if this is right for sure, but the rate is like the speed.
Speed is a rate, yes. Yeah, it is. All right. Any ideas why speed is a rate? We talked about this. No?
Speed is a rate, but I can't exactly put it into
No,
words.
fair enough. It can be tricky. But thanks for replying. Anyone else want to pipe in? Anyone got an idea? No? No one got any ideas? Even though we've done this like 4 times. So a rate is where we consider how many different types of measurement, how many things. So for instance, like Luke said, speed is a rate because we have miles per hour. How many measurements are there? How many units? 2. All right. And it's a rate when we consider how one of them changes when the other one changes. So Jai always tells us this. When you consider speed, what are the 2 measurements that you take that change? Well, miles is one and hours is another, but what are they measurements for? Miles is a measurement of distance. Okay, so we're talking distance, and hours is a measure of time. Okay, so when we've talked rates, Sienna's normally good at this, but I don't think she's here now. Rates, what we want to consider is a unit rate or a unit ratio. Right? What does this word unit mean? One. Good. All right, Eden said 1. So unit means 1, and when I have miles per hour, which one of these, the distance or the time, is the 1? Which one is the unit? The miles or the hours? Hours. Again, Eden's on fire. Yeah, the hours is miles per 1 hour, right? So the unit is the time. So when we're dealing with speed, we always want a unit, a single unit of time. So we can have lots of miles, but 1 hour. We can have lots of kilometers, but 1 hour. All right. And we can change our units. So we can have lots of meters, but 1 hour. All right. We can have lots of meters, but how many minutes? So I've gone through all this like meters, but lots of meters, 1 hour. All right. Lots of kilometers, but only 1 hour. So if I've got lots of meters, but how many minutes would I consider? No, but I'm just asking for this pattern, Luke, right? Everyone should be able to answer this. Is Eden going to tell me again? I think, yeah, Eden's got the pattern 1. No, not 60. Miles, lots of miles, 1 hour. Lots of kilometers, 1 hour. Lots of meters, 1 hour. Lots of meters, but 1 minute is what I want. Lots of meters per second, it's 1 second. I always want to know how far, I think that's what you were saying, Luke, how far we travel, but in 1 unit of time, whatever that unit is. All right, makes sense? So we've always got to end up with our single hour or single minute. So when we went through this, we started with 135 miles, which is fine, but we were in 4 hours and 30 minutes. So that's not a unit. So I wanted to know how many miles, but in 1 hour. So I need to have 1 hour, okay? And how many miles would I travel? How did we work that out? Okay, so let me maybe think of it visually. So this line, okay, represents 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, half an hour, yeah? And in that 4.5 hours, I travel 135 miles. So what I want to know is how far would I travel in 1 hour? So there's 1 hour, there's 1 hour, okay? 1 hour, 1 hour, and then I've got my 30 minutes. So how would I've kind of done it visually, how would I work out how far I would travel, but only in the 1 hour? What do I need to do? Divide, yeah. What do I divide by? How many? Say it again. Exactly. So I've got 4.5 lots. I've got to split that whole distance of 135 miles into 4.5 pieces. So I'm going to do 135 miles divided by 4.5. And what did we get? Can you work that out for me? $30. Yeah. So that means that this question mark is 30 miles. So we do 30 miles in 1 hour. So what would my speed be? So this is my unit, the time. This is what I wanted. So my speed is going to be 30 miles per 1 hour. 30 miles per hour. Did that make sense? Okay. We would, but why wouldn't I write that as my speed, Luke?
Because the majority of what we're doing is hours.
Well, always when we say speed, we always have, like I said, the unit has to be 1 hour or 1 minute or 1 second. So what you just told me is that I would travel 15 miles in half an hour, which is fine. That's perfectly correct. But I wouldn't use that as a speed, because a speed is how far would I travel in 1 hour. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, let's look at the next one then. This is a bit different because I now have, if I draw another line, right, this line represents that I've done 30 miles, all right, from here. And how long does it take me? It takes me 1 hour, all right? So I've already got it up there. Is that good? So that was my speed, 30 miles per hour. But what I wanted to know is how many kilometers per hour is that? So I asked you to do a conversion from miles to kilometers. Does anyone remember what that was? No? Anyone do it quickly on their computer or? No? Well, sorry if you're in the middle of doing it. Let me just tell you. The conversion is about 48 kilometers. Now, Jai, are you there? All right, you told me this very correctly last time. Is 30 miles longer, shorter, or the same as 48 kilometers?
It's the same. Only the distance or the like the distance or the rate
So the one word you wanted to use was the units. Excuse me, but that's what I wanted. Everyone. So this orange line that represents the 30 miles is the same as 48 kilometers. All right. So I'm not changing my distance. So what I can say is that 30 miles in 1 hour, well, that's the same speed as 48 kilometers in 1 hour. So I've got my kilometers per hour already, and I don't need to do anything else. So that's my new speed, but in kilometers per hour. All right. Does that make sense? So I've just changed miles to kilometers. That was the first thing we looked at in our unit, was changing from kilometers into miles. How's my pen working, guys? Is it lagging or is it working okay? So that's the lagging then. So is it not too bad? No, it's a little bit. Okay, it was about 30 seconds with my M4s. So does that make sense, guys? That I've just changed my units. So like I was saying with Jai, I haven't changed the distance. I've just changed the units. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, the next question is basically the same thing again. So I've got the same line, all right, which is, sorry, use so that's 30 miles, but I've moved on. What did I say? 30 miles is the same as 48 kilometers, all right? But what's the change that I want? So I've got kilometers per hour, that's done, all right? But for the next one, I want meters per hour. So I've got to change from kilometers to meters. Now, does anyone know how many meters there are in a kilometer? Yeah, no? There is 1,000 meters in a kilometer, you're correct. Okay. Um, so what I can say is now, just to remind you that I'm not changing the distance. That length of my line is still exactly the same. That's the distance, right? 30 miles, 48 kilometers. It's exactly the same. But if I were to write that in meters, it would be 48,000 meters. But I've still got my time, which is, what was the length of the green arrow? Was still, we're looking at this section here, was still just 1 hour, yeah? So I can say that I've done 30 miles in 1 hour, is the same thing as 40 kilometers in 1 hour, is the same thing as 48,000 meters in 1 hour. So what's my speed in meters per hour? It's really simple. It's there in front of you.
1,000 meters per hour.
There you go, finally. So 48,000 meters per hour. Now, this is where the question was, guys. Do you think that meters per hour is a good unit of speed? Is it one that we should use? Milo, what do you think? Have a think and tell me. Is it one that we would normally use? That's an easy answer. Have an opinion then. Whether it's right or wrong, have an opinion. Wrong. And could you give me, that's your opinion, what would it be about that that made you say it's a wrong one? I would agree. So why do you think meters per hour is not a good one? Your opinion. Yeah, I'd go with that. Yeah. So you got pretty good idea then. All you needed to do was actually go through the process. Yeah, meters is quite a small unit, and hours is quite a long unit of time. So we'd end up with quite a large number of meters in an hour, wouldn't we? So that was, it's not a very good measurement of hours, sorry, of speed. We've got kilometers per hour works because kilometers is large, so is hours. Miles is large, so is hours. Okay, so miles per hour and kilometers per hour are useful measures of speed, but meters per hour is not so good because we're going to end up with a really big number. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah, good. So what would be more useful then than meters per hour if we're going to stick with meters? Well, that would be the next one. Yeah, we would go to, instead of meters in an hour, we're going to have, well, instead of having lots of meters in an hour, we're going to do meters per minute. Now, if we do 48,000 meters in 1 hour, would we do more, less, or the same number of meters in 1 minute? Talia, what do you think? If I do 48,000 meters in 1 hour, all right, would I do more, less, or the same number of meters in only 1 minute? I'd do less, wouldn't I? Yeah, because I've not done it for as long. It's like me saying if you work really hard on your maths for an hour, right, you could do a whole page of maths. But if I said, right, you can only do a minute now, if I said, but you still work really hard, you're going to do less, aren't you? You can't do the same amount in 1 minute as you do in an hour. So, what do we do then, guys? Nick, you tell me. I'm sure you know. So, if we want, we've got 48,000 meters in 1 hour. What do we have to do to figure out how many meters I would do in 1 minute? Yeah, by, because Exactly. All right, 60 minutes in an hour. So what that would be like, guys, is here's my 48,000. If I were to split it in half, Luke, how long would this amount be? Half an hour is how many minutes? Okay, so that would be half of my 48,000. So that would be 24,000 in 30 minutes. But that's still no good. I need to keep going. So if I split it in half again, what's half of 30 minutes, Sam? 15, okay. And how far would I go in 15 minutes? Yeah. 12,000, perfect, well done. All right. But that's still not what I want. That's 12,000 in 15 minutes. I need how far in 1 minute. That's important. So as Nick said, I'm going to divide by 60. So I need to do my 48,000 meters, but divided by 60. Can you tell me what that answer is, guys? Almost out of time. Finished. Say it again. So, what do you reckon, guys? Is he correct? 800. Is that what you said? So that means that I would do, so if I broke this up into lots of like 1 minute chunks, I would do 800 meters per minute. Okay. All right. To finish this off then, now I've got another one. Blimey, is Sienna. Now I've got another line, but this time the line is not the 48,000 or the 30 miles or the 48 kilometers. It's only 800 meters. Okay. Now, how long does it take to do 800 meters, guys? Sam, how long does it take me to do 800 meters? How long does it take me to do 800 meters? Thank you. Is that Jai? How do we know, Jai, that it takes me 1 minute to do 800 meters? It's in the previous question. There you go. So I now want how many meters per 1 second. So what do we need to do, Niall, to finish this off? Divide it by 60 again. Why? Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing, aren't we? So if I split it in half, that would be 30 seconds. That would be 400 meters. If I split it in half again, that would be 15 seconds and 200. But I don't want that. I want 1 second. So I'm going to do 800 meters divided by 60 will tell me how many I do in 1 second. So what is that? So we've got 13.3 meters per second. All right. So we broke it up. So we've got that whole sheet done. All right. So we've gone right the way through it now. Those of you that managed to do that before, did you get all that correct?